Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to present the presentation about Bootstrap, and I am Danial Khalid, and along with me are Musab, Rizwan and Abdullah Shehzad. Our instructors are Sir Kalimullah and Sir Safdar Munir. The overview of our presentation are: first we will talk about introduction, then history of Bootstrap, then versions of Bootstrap, latest version of Bootstrap, then importance of Bootstrap, impact on developers, application of Bootstrap, and freelancing and Bootstrap. Now we'll talk about introduction. What is Bootstrap? Bootstrap is basically a framework in which HTML and CSS are used for faster and easier development. It is famous for being developed with components that have ability to follow the property of responsive design. What is framework? A framework is nothing but a collection of existing technologies bundled together in a consistent way. In short, a framework or a software framework is a platform for developing software applications. What is responsive design? A responsive design is a design that works properly with any resolution. It is actually a user-friendly approach. Now we'll talk about history of Bootstrap. Bootstrap, originally named Twitter Blueprint, was developed by Mark Otto and Jacob Thornton at Twitter. As a framework to encourage consistency across internal tools, it was renamed from Twitter Blueprint to Bootstrap and released as an open source project on August 19, 2011. Now we'll talk about previous versions of Bootstrap. On January 31, 2012, Bootstrap 2 was released, which added built-in support for glyphicons. This version supports responsive web design. The next major version, Bootstrap 3, was released on August 19, 2013. Its redesigned the components was flat design and mobile first approach. Now we'll talk about Bootstrap 4, which is the next version from Bootstrap 3. Bootstrap 4 was released by Mark Otto on October 29, 2014. Bootstrap 4 supports the latest version of the Google Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Opera and Safari. Some significant changes in Bootstrap 4 includes major rewrite of code, replacing less with sass, improved from styling buttons, drop-down menus, medias, objects and image classes, switching from the pixel unit in CSS to root EMS, increasing global font size from 14 pixel to 16 pixel for enhanced readability. Now Abdullah Shehzad will continue.
Now I will be talking about Bootstrap 5, which is the latest version of Bootstrap. Bootstrap 5 Alpha was officially released on 16 June 2020 and this is the latest version. Some major changes in this version include dropping jQuery in favor of vanilla JavaScript, rewriting the grid to support columns placed outside of rows and responsive gutters, enhanced grid system, improved customizing docs. Now I will be talking about some important features of Bootstrap 5. In Bootstrap 5, the customizing version has been improvised. The new Bootstrap version has expanded color palettes as shown in this picture. It has updated forms which are better than previous versions as shown in this picture. Bootstrap is a CSS framework. Bootstrap is one of the most popular frameworks to design responsive websites. If you want to be a web designer, then Bootstrap is one of the best resources. Bootstrap makes web design really easy. You can design a website or web application with Bootstrap just using some ID and classes. Whereas if you want same design with CSS, then you have to write so many CSS code. So the next presenter will be Musab Rizwan, who will be further explain this topic.
Now I will be discussing the impact of Bootstrap on developers. Bootstrap is a framework to help you design websites faster and easier. It includes HTML and CSS based design, templates for typography, forms, buttons, tables, navigation, models, image carousels, and etc. It also gives you support for JavaScript and plugins. Bootstrap is so easy that you can set up and create a working layout in less than an hour. You don't need to know much about HTML and CSS, but you can use Bootstrap to make your website. Now I will be discussing the components of Bootstrap. Over a dozen of reusable components built to provide iconography, drop-downs, input groups, navigation, alerts, and much more. Some of the important components of Bootstrap are discussed below. GIF icons. They are the font formatted icons that are available in Bootstrap. They are about 200 in number. They are glyphicons to denote almost all actions like zoom, edit, warning, file, delete, etc. And they are defined in an individual class. Drop-downs. Drop-downs are a toggle and contextual based on component for displaying the list of links. They become more dynamic and effectual by JavaScript plugin. Input groups. The form control class are extended and the text or button are added at the either side of the input element. Navigation bar. For your websites, these components provide navigation headers. With using Bootstrap, these bars can collapse or extend on the basis of their own screen size. Jumbotron, a lightweight, flexible component that can optionally extend the entire viewpoint to showcase key marketing messages on your site. Alerts. The Bootstrap component with jQuery plugins that gives feedback messages given by the user actions and provide alert messages. Progress bars. On work progress basis, these components provide visual feedback. Badges. This is a component to highlight something like unread items by adding the class badge to the DOM element, preferably a span. Pagination. This component gives your site with multi-page pagination so that the content can be split into multiple pages and navigated at ease. Usually, the DOM element for unordered list is defined with class pagination. Application of Bootstrap. Bootstrap Studio is a desktop app for designing and prototyping websites. It comes with a large number of built-in components which you can drag and drop to assemble responsive web pages. The app is built on top of a hugely popular Bootstrap framework and exports clean and semantic HTML. Market worth. In Pakistan, an average front-end developer earns about 40,000 to 1 lakh rupees. It depends upon your experience and skills. Usually, an average freelancer charges around 2,000 rupees for developing a web page using Bootstrap. Now we will discuss what basically freelancing is. Freelancing is a type of job where one works for himself rather than working for a company. While freelancers do take on contract work for companies and organizations, they are ultimately self-employed. Freelancers are responsible for all sorts of things that traditional employees are not, such as setting their work hours, keeping track of time spent on different projects, billing clients, and paying their own employment and business taxes. Freelancers are not considered employees by the companies they work for, but rather contractors. Working on Bootstrap as a freelancer. If a person has a skill of using Bootstrap, then he can be a website developer on different freelancing platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, etc. While the most demanding skill in freelancing is programming and software development. However, there is a great demand of developers in the market. The end. Jazakallah khair. Hopefully you liked what we presented.
Thank you.